is ours. The world is ours. The world is ours. The world is ours. The world is ours. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, Khalid Sawa. This is our second episode of The World is Ours. We encountered a little more snowfall. We've gotten a little bit more than the previous years. I think Khaled's not so thankful for having to shovel as much as he did, but we thank you, Khalid, for helping out as you have.
For sure. It's a workout. I like it sometimes, but sometimes I don't. It was raining with it as well, so it made it like slushy, so it gets a little bit heavier. So that's something a lot of people don't like when it's all wet. So to push it around, it's very heavy.
Most certainly.
Yes. I usually try to catch it before it gets wet like that. And
right.
Yeah.
Fine job, my friend.
No problem. Anytime.
Fine job. Thank you again, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. We hope that you enjoyed the first newly aired episode of The World is Ours, and we thank you for your continuous support and the love that you have shown.
Thanks always for those great introductions you always have. You always show appreciation as well, and I'd love to show my appreciation back to you as well. Yes, so that's our last podcast, our last episode. What did you think about that? Were you comfortable? How do you view this now? How do you view podcasting?
I think it gave the motivation and ambition to continue and to fully pursue. It's something new that we've done, and it's something different. I've done many things in my life. I'm definitely the type of person that likes to believe in the impossible. I'm always trying new things. It's a good challenge, and everything I do in life entices me and keeps me going, keeps me motivated. There's things that you're good at, and then there's things that you're maybe not so good at or you're new at. And those things that you're new at are the things that you should be practicing and allowing yourself to grow is what that does. If you're coming out of your comfort state, if you're good at something, when you're doing that something that you're good at, if you're continuously practicing a sport or you're practicing an instrument or a daily routine, if you're constantly doing that same thing, keeps you in that comfort state. It's when you get out of that comfort state, when you do things that you're not so good at and practice those things that you're not so good at, that's what makes you well-rounded. If I'm good at, we'll say barbering, a particular style that I'm good at, I can do that, and I can do that automatically. There's styles that maybe I'm not or wasn't so comfortable with back in the day. I'll be very honest, long hair, long layered, textured, scissored cuts were my worst enemy and something I wasn't as good at. I noticed over time, practicing those things that you're not so good at and continuously doing those things, applying yourself, whether it's learning, whether you're an athlete and you're good at shooting a three-point shot, or say you're a quarterback and you're good at throwing the long ball. If you're not so good at throwing the shorter passes, or if you're not so good in the paint, if we're talking basketball, those are things that you need to repetitively practice. And those weaker areas is things that you should give more attention to. And overall, this is what makes you well-rounded. If we're talking sports, it's what makes you a champion. And that mindset, I think, for our younger gens, our younger viewers, and also our adults, our mid-age to our elderly audience, just because you're elderly, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't learn things that you're not so good
Absolutely.
at or knowledge that you don't know. Apply yourself and be versatile. That's a huge thing. Anything that you're not so good at doing, take the time, right? And make it a point to continuously practice. Give that attention to the things that you're not as good at. It's definitely a very key point. And like I said, with myself, when I first came into the hair industry, I was great at fades and lineups. and shaves and beard trims, but the longer layered, like your Justin Bieber type flow, all scissors, texture, layers, those hairstyles were things that they were not my stronger areas. And now that I've practiced and applied myself and believed in myself, now those haircuts come automatically. Those are now one of my favorites versus back in the day. I used to despise. I used to lose some sleep at night thinking about the fact that I wasn't able to do those particular styles, or I wasn't yet there versus some of the other barbers that were, and they did great jobs. When I analyzed the other barbers around me, they made it look easy over time. When you apply yourself with anything you do in life, whether it's sports or you're an entrepreneur in business, or in general, a person, a human, a citizen of your country, anything that you're weaker at, that you practice and continuously practice, I promise you will prosper, and you'll thank me later for that particular mindset that I've shared with you, whether younger, mid-aged, or older. We all are a little bit guilty of that, right, Cal?
Absolutely. You're right. And also, very well said. Not everybody's born with like a talent. People have talents. Everybody's born with a talent.
Correct.
Specifically. But sometimes you don't know what you can do and what you can perceive in this life if you don't dive into it or give it a try. There's some very well spoken people. There's very well people that cannot speak, or they're camera shy, or it's just not made for them. And I believe you have that charisma about you, and what I see about you, you're very outgoing. You're very well educated as well, and from what I've known you from since young till now, you're a very well carried person.
It comes with time. It comes with effort. It doesn't just happen. And then, like you said, communication. Back in the day, we had, I'm sure boys and girls, you guys can relate. We had improv, drama class. We had English class. We had speeches that we had to create. We had, speaking in front of the class, that definitely played a major part in today's day now at the age of 34. Public speaking, from writing a speech to presenting that speech in front of the class, that was definitely a tool and an ability that now I thank Ms. Rano for. It was an academic English class. It was a little bit harder, a bit tougher than an applied English course. But again, no regrets. That gave me the ability to be able to speak in front of a crowd of people, to speak here on this podcast, and to be able to write properly, present, and publicly speak. Our drama class, improvisation, on the spot thinking and creating, that was another weakness. These were the weaknesses that we're talking about, boys and girls, our younger gens tuning in. These are prime examples. We can adapt with time as long as we apply ourselves. If you apply yourself, that's half the battle. Showing up, applying yourself, and practicing regularly. You doing that over and over and over again, that makes you more fluent. You've had drama class there back in the day. You've had English class back in the day. As an individual coming from back home to Canada, the language barrier for you was tough. And if I wasn't comfortable, it was a weakness to me. I'm sure you can relate to that, right?
Absolutely. When I came here, I didn't know English, so I had to take a ESL class, learning English, and I believe that's what kind of made me, like throughout my years of school, like hold back and not let my voice speak, not like speak out. Or I was just very shy person. I have a lot to say. That's because of the English, and that kind of made me hold back, right? So now I've learned to just speak your mind. Nothing wrong with it, because there's no incorrect. If anybody's speaking, there's never incorrect or correct. It's
if you said something and in a different manner, or in a way where you said it and you said it in the way that you were able to say it, you had some kids in the class giggling and whispering to each other. We were all in the same boat. Yourself coming to Canada, it was a little bit more of a challenge for yourself, and myself here growing up in Canada as a Canadian citizen. There was a more of uncomfortable outlook and an uncomfortable perspective that I had on those certain things. And now, both yourself and I, these are strengths of ours and things that now we're comfortable doing. To our younger generation and our youth that are tuning in, do what you are good at and great at. Most certainly, don't stop. But that becomes automatic when you're very good at doing something. It becomes second nature. And the things that you're not so strong doing, make sure to do and give the utmost attention to a challenge, just because it might be difficult. For example, say you're playing a video game in a beginner mode, intermediate mode, and then you have expert mode. Just because you start on a beginner mode, it doesn't mean that eventually you can't play on expert mode. It doesn't mean that you won't become an expert and become that good at that particular mode. And that's the same thing with life. We start out as a young adolescent boy or girl. That's the right same thing as beginner mode in, for example, Call of Duty or Madden, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's correct. Any video game you've ever played as well, you're not good, and you don't know in the beginning. You're not. Eventually, you're playing the game, and you become. Some people think you're a hacker. That's how good you get.
Right, you become that good at it. We're not saying life's a video game, but there's a lot of similarities in that video game that you can take and apply in your everyday life. Absolutely. As a young adult, as a teenager. It doesn't stop into your later years of life, whether it's 20s, 30s, or later on as an elderly, wise man or woman. It becomes second nature. So if you start at a young age and you apply yourself and do as we just discussed, one, you'll thank us later, but two, you're going to help yourself grow and become well-rounded. A well-rounded individual, a well-rounded athlete, a well-rounded businessman or businesswoman. That's the mindset and the key to greatness. And we push that more than ever.
That's absolutely correct. Yes, very well. Also, just don't ever think that you can't do anything. Anything is possible. Don't ever have someone tell you something that you can't do, because you can do it. It's just I live by this motto. It's correction. I always correct myself. So if I'm speaking to you in a certain way, I will stop and correct myself. That's the motto I live by. So if I'm walking down the sidewalk and I'm always going left and right, you got to correct yourself. Walk straight. Or sometimes you do see your feet, going sideways. Nobody walks perfectly straight feet, right? So sometimes I got to remember that I have to correct my feet the way I'm walking, right? It goes with everything in life. And
posture. And form, whether physical or mental, attention to that. It might not be as your friend or your little brother, little sister, or older brother or little sister. It doesn't mean that you can't work on those things. And nobody's perfect. Enhance and improve those particular areas or categories.
Yeah.
Give attention to those things.
Absolutely. Yes.
That's part of growth.
Yes, exactly. And also, some people I've seen, they can never throw a ball in their life. I've seen them, they can't throw a ball, or they're just not athletic. And then later on in life, I see he's a professional boxer or he's a professional basketball player. All it took was consistency, practice over and over and over and over. Every NFL star or NBA player, anybody in the athlete world, they still, just because they're made it up that high, but believe me, behind the scenes, those guys are every day shooting. They don't stop, because once they do, you eventually lose that. Momentum, right? So that's all it is.
Correct. You don't forget. You learn how to ride a bicycle when you're younger. You'll never forget how to ride that bicycle, whether you haven't rode a bike in 10 years or 20 years.
Absolutely.
It's muscle memory, and it's your subconscious mind that becomes programmed to doing those things automatically. And that's anything, not just riding a bicycle. Tom Brady, for example, prime example.
Yes.
Very late pick in the draft. We were watching a couple podcasts on Tom Brady and interviews on Tom, and gave us a little more reassurance and educated us more. The initial photo that we saw of him in Michigan.
Yes.
He just looked like an average Joe, like not even really athletic. It was a surprise to see that, and I think even he was surprised looking back at himself back in Michigan, and before the draft and before he entered the NFL, the National Football League. Something that we absorbed from that and retained from that particular interview was don't ever compare yourself to the other person or player. In his case, there was how many other quarterbacks that were before him, and that should be used as motivation. And we look at now as the greatest of all time. We take that into consideration more than ever. These are live stories and live experiences from people that we look at as mentors and motivation, not people that we're comparing ourselves to. One of my main inspirations is Tom Brady, and the ability to win as many times as he did and to grow as much as he has. These are things that we can apply in our own personal life. It's extremely inspiring. It's something that is a real story. And
absolutely,
you look at it now, him looking back in time and kind of discussing with the younger generations and the younger viewers that he has that follow him. These are things that if you do, challenging yourself, number one, applying yourself, having the mindset, and not comparing to the other particular person next to you, maybe in school, or the other person maybe on the football field or on the basketball court, not comparing yourself to them, but motivating yourself and allowing that to fuel your fire is what's going to allow you to grow and to become greater. We're all great. We want to become the greatest that we can possibly be and the greatest version of ourselves of all time, the greatest version of ourselves that we can potentially be in the time that we're on Earth and our existence here on Earth.
Absolutely. Very well said, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Let's now we'll hear a little bit more about you. Where did you guys originate from? How did you guys get here? Let's go back to your beginning here.
My ancestors originated from Italy. They came here on a boat.
Generation, first or third?
I'm a second gen.
Gotcha.
Second generation Italian.
Yes.
Mother was born here in Canada. They came from back home, from Italy, as well as my father's parents. They came from back home, and my father and my mother both were born here in Windsor, so I would be a second gen Italian. They came with maybe a few pairs of clothes. It's not like they were coming here with all their furniture and all their accessories and all their belongings. It was, the main thing was to get to Canada for opportunity. That's the land of opportunity is North America, and that's what enticed them to come here to Canada, to this great country. They got here and basically right to work. There was no stalling or stopping. The mindset of our ancestors, our grandfathers, was work, 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 work. And that they did. And they were able to provide for our mothers and fathers. And they were also able to lead by example. That's the main thing that our mothers and fathers learned from our ancestors. And then taught us the same manner that they had, they shared with us. And that goes from generation to generation. Myself, born here in Windsor, Ontario. We grew up here in Via Italia, Little Italy. And then we moved out to South Windsor. I was about 10 years old. And 10 or 11 years old at that time. We moved out to South Windsor. There was a subdivision, Kenilworth. They built a home there. Once I started at Holy Names after grade school, after I graduated, they had built a home right off Cabana. The street was called Inglewood. For lack of a better term, Hebrew Heights. That was what it was called back then. I don't know if that's changed.
Still the same.
It's referred to as the same thing nowadays. I went to school at Holy Names High School. Later on, graduated, got into the hairstyling industry, played football at Holy Names High School. Shout out to the coaches, Robert McIntyre and Rocky Arachi, mentors, proper examples of leaders. We got our mothers, our fathers, and then we have, if you play a sport, you got your coaches. And they acted as proper mentors. These are all things that make us who we are today. Very strict, very hard nosed, tough. If you didn't have good grades, you weren't on the team. If you weren't going to school and you weren't applying yourself, attendance. If you missed days or you didn't show up, or like they made sure to check up every day and to properly assess every individual that did play for the team. They were always looking. Sometimes they even showed up to classes and just to see if you were there, or
Trying to show you stay disciplined that way. Correct.
most definitely. Not everybody went to the NFL. Like we have Leo Johnson that plays for the New York Giants and got drafted by the New York Giants. Shout out to him. But not everybody did go to the NFL. But there were a lot of great athletes. Whether you went to the NFL or not, just learning and being on that particular football team, that taught you to be a man and taught you discipline and punctuality, right?
Yeah.
And the brotherhood that we shared amongst all 55 players with the coaches, that's what developed the mindset that we have today. Whether you went to the NFL or not, just playing for that organization and that school and for those coaches, the mindset is what we have today and why we have it today. That started with those coaches and being a part of that squad and that team. It taught you to care for one another, to take care of one another. Playing for a team, it's different than just a single sport or a personal sport. A team sport is caring for each other, playing for each other. One man goes down, the next one steps up, and we carry each other to the championships that we had and that we got as a team.
Absolutely.
Again, thankful for the ability to have played on that team and for those coaches. And looking back, that definitely played a big role in now as a man today at the age of 34. And if I never did those things, or I never maybe went to that school or played for that team or played for those coaches, things might have turned out a little bit differently, to be honest. So we tip our hats to our mothers, our fathers, and those coaches, those head coaches, Robert McIntyre and Rocky Arachi. We can't thank them enough. And I'm sure all the rest of the athletes and football players that played for that team, I'm sure they can agree. Hard-nosed, but tough love, like we said with our fathers, tough love, right? Discipline, that grit is what they instilled in us. It's not going to come easy. You become a target once you start winning and once you are a champion. And that's the same thing with as you excel in life, as you gain more success, it's very similar to playing on a championship team. You have to defend that title. You have to continue having that mindset and practicing as you did more than ever. You're constantly applying yourself, constantly growing, learning new things. And that mindset, it doesn't change, whether it's sports, whether it's entrepreneurship, or whether you're a father to children or a mother. It doesn't stop. If somebody here viewing isn't a football player, it doesn't matter. It's the mindset that you had in any of these different sectors that we're talking about. It doesn't change. It should give the ability to everybody to relate, whether you're a businessman or whether you are an athlete, a family man or a family woman, a mother, a father. It doesn't or shouldn't change. It can be applied to everything and anything in life. We're very thankful for that, right? And I wouldn't change that for nothing. I'm sure, Cal, you can agree.
Absolutely.
I don't expect people to agree with every single thing I say. It's not about that. You can hear somebody. Listening and hearing are two different things. You can hear something, but when you're listening, you're actually absorbing that, retaining that, and processing that in your mind.
Absolutely.
So hearing is going in one ear and out the other. Listening is absorbing, understanding, and retaining what you've heard or what you're hearing at the time.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. And I hope all you listeners out there are listening, not just hearing. There's some wisdom we're throwing in here. If you pick it up, you can pick it up. So very well said, right? I knew you were on the football team. And also shout out to all the names for winning the OFSA.
Yeah, that what we'll do is our next episode. Go through some highlights and shout out the Holy Names Knights for winning the title. And they did an outstanding job. They won by a substantial margin. I know the opposing team did not score at all. Shout out to the defense for putting that goose egg up on the board. Outstanding job. And again, shout out to the coaches and the organization, the school. Definitely impressive. Very impressive.
Absolutely. For you in football, Fab, how was that being in the the football team? I'm pretty sure the football team always gets all the women, and it's just like that's the way it is about that.
Most definitely. Yeah, shout out to the girls and all that. That's wonderful. But that's just, I think, a cherry on top of the cake. I think us as a team, as a unit, and as a brotherhood, that was the most memorable thing. You got your fans and you got your girlfriends at the time and all that good stuff. But that's just the extra that maybe comes with it. Comes with playing football. Comes with being
For sure.
I guess maybe a jock, if you want to call it that. But just the party, like just the parties we had after the games and the games that we won. I mean, whether we won or lost, we still got together and we still, not just as teammates, but coaches and mothers and fathers of the athletes on the team. That unity there and celebrating together, I think those are the most memorable memories that we, myself for sure, I'm gonna guess that everybody on the team would feel the same way. But just the gatherings and the festivities and all that after these wins, the championships, those are memories that you definitely can't forget, and I value a lot more than ever, and reflect on a lot.
For sure.
It was something special.
Were your parents very supportive of it? Like, were they at your events, your
Most
games,
definitely.
always there?
Most definitely.
Beautiful.
Most definitely.
Shout out to your parents.
My father constantly, always, and not just games, like practices. I would look over and I would see him all the time, whether he's just hanging on the parking lot or he's coming in and hanging out by the coaches. Always there. Like his shift was until 3:30 at Ford, and our practices were until about 5:30. But he was there all the time, and even after I graduated and all that, constantly still going and watching their practices, even though we all graduated. I wasn't on the team anymore. Still just loving it, and you heard his voice all the time during games, and you he's there.
Yeah. That would also give you the adrenaline and the rush, and knowing that they're there, it gives you that
The support.
boost, I believe. The support, yeah.
For sure.
I would feel very confident, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing having them there. That's wonderful. Terrific.
Our team and the athletes and the players, the families were very supportive. No doubt, hands down, they were always there and they were always supporting the players. So mother, she was always there, just didn't want to see her son get hurt or the contact. I think that kind of a mother's a mother, right? So, but she loved the whole vibe and atmosphere, and the parents cheering, and it was they were all good friends too, and just looking at that unity, like I said, the unity from us as a brotherhood, as a team, and the unity that the families had and the players, mothers and fathers had, and then the coaches. It was a special thing, and I don't know if we'll ever have that. I mean, there's other memories in life that we make, but that was definitely a special one, and special memories. Most definitely.
For sure.
Definitely.
Family, I see them all the time. I speak to them. They're very supportive of everything that you do, and sometimes I see that it gets kind of like too much for you, because they really, you never take it as a bad thing. It's like my parents till this day.
Right.
Yes, that's how it should be. And once they stop doing that, then that's not. They should always be on your case. Always supportive.
If they're not,
for sure.
Right. If they're not, then they wouldn't be my family. That's just how we are, and that's how they are. I'm sure one day with my own children, I'll be very similar in the approach that they had. And like I said before, You're not always gonna be laughing and smiling together. Like there's times where,
Right.
but that's all love. It's tough love.
Exactly.
Just like our coaches, they weren't gonna coach us in a nice manner or a soft way. Like there would have been no championships won if they coached a soft way or they were nice or no. It doesn't work that way. You know what you want. You're guiding, you're mentoring, you're leading. That's what coaches do. That's what parents do. If you're not interested, it's still relatable. Mothers and fathers are very similar to the coaches. Mothers and fathers, if you don't play sports, they're coaches. They're going to be tough with you. It's because they care. And that makes you that much greater. And our families, our mothers and fathers, it's a similar approach to a coach in sports. Whether you play sports or not, this is still a relatable topic. We all have mothers and fathers. And that approach that our coaches had to us, myself and Cal, are very similar to the approach that my mother and father, Cal's mother and father, had. And I'm sure all of your mothers and fathers.
Absolutely. And regardless or not how old I get or not, my parents are still that certain type of way. They're still that certain type of way. And it will forever always be. And I believe I am the same with my children as well. I will be. And I've learned from them. My dad and them were never soft. Never soft. Yeah, like not in a bad way. I'm saying like not soft, but they had to make us tough. They had to make us tough on this, this growing up.
Whether you're raising a family, you're raising children, or you're leading a major corporation, or you're the head coach of a team.
Yes.
Or any business, for example, you run a restaurant. You own that restaurant. There's ways to be in that restaurant. We're talking non-sports related now. You run that restaurant, you own that restaurant. There's a mindset that owner has and that boss of yours has, or any job that you might have right now. Your boss, your managers, those approaches that those managers or bosses or owners have with you, you might stomp your feet, you might slam your hands off the counter as they're talking and they're approaching you the way they are, but they're doing it to make you great and to make that brand, if it's a business, to make that brand great and to continue to maintain the greatness of that particular business. That's an approach that they have. If they didn't, you wouldn't have a job. That business would not exist if you didn't have that particular approach. Everybody wants the truth, but nobody can handle the truth. Constructive criticism. As a young adolescent teenager back in the day, you might get approached from a teacher or from a coach or from your boss. It's a way of changing you for the better, not just coming at you because they don't like you. That's not the reason that they're approaching you that way. If they didn't like you, they wouldn't have hired you. We need to understand that there's a reason that they come at you the way they do, or they approach you the way that they do. They're trying to make you even greater than you are already. And they're trying to sustain that and help you sustain that. There's a reason, whether you got mad or not, or whether you went home crying, or whether you wanted to quit that day, there's a reason that they did that. And once we understand that, it's a powerful thing. It's a way of making us the man or woman that we are today. And that's not going to stop. Anything we do in life. If you're working somewhere, don't expect the person to be nice all the time. Your boss or the owner or the manager maybe that you have on shift, don't expect them to let up.
Absolutely.
Just a way of doing things. No
matter how old I get or how I am now or what I've learned, what you just said explained very well. You explained it. Till this day, sometimes I feel like, why is this guy telling me what to do, or why? Just the way you explained it is absolutely correct. And till this day, I'm not perfect on it, but I still, till this day, I think sometimes you gotta take into consideration what this person is telling you, because he sees something else than you do, right? Everybody's perspective and the way they look at things is completely different, right? Nobody looks at things the same way. Like nobody looks at the same things the same way. Like sometimes you can look at something and say, no, it's pink, no, it's green. It could be the color of it depends on what the situation is. And till this day I feel like sometimes I don't take sometimes somebody's advice. I'm like, oh, why is he telling me this? Why is he telling me that? Right. But when I leave, I absolutely think about why he said it, because he
Right.
saw something or she saw something that, should have been corrected, or exactly what you said. Very well said. And yeah, it was very great to always see you, man, and do videos. Love this podcast. I hope it grows, and I hope the audience like what they see and what
You
they enjoy. Just right for now, we are just exactly. That's number one. That's like that goes with everything. To show up to work, that's the main thing, is showing up. Going to the gym, you sit outside at the door in your car, thinking about go in or not. It's just stepping in there. Once you're in there, you can rock and roll, right? And just for the beginning, just for our audience and people, we're just introducing
right.
ourselves and who we are. Things will get more interesting if if you like. If you guys have a topic, you can put in the comments, share, subscribe, always. Yeah,
Most definitely. Most definitely. Next, I think we'll do a little recap there on the offset performance for the lower names. Tonight's football. That's most likely going to air next, maybe with some highlights and whatnot. Again, congratulations for winning 23-0 against the St. James Lions. They dominated the Lions. Congratulations to those boys and the coaches and organization. And stay tuned. Any suggestions you guys have, we're always open to it. We're very open to suggestions.
Absolutely.
The comment section is for the people. Like, share, subscribe, hit that bell so that you guys know when every episode is airing.
Speak your mind. Any questions, any answers you need from us, you want to know more about us, me and Fabio, whatever question it is, you guys can ask. Just, we don't judge, like we said in the last episode. We don't judge at all. So everybody's opinion or comment to us is appreciated, and we will try to answer it the best way we can as possible. If we don't know how to answer that question or we can't get to you, just be patient with us. And also, we are barbers by day and podcast by night. So we were trying to see if you guys really love what we do. We can, pump out more videos. If everything is going great, we can do that.
Most definitely.
It just all depends on you, on you guys, the fans and the subscribers. So that's all on you guys, and we would appreciate if you guys did that for us. Like, share, subscribe. I mean,
Most definitely.
it's just a click of a button. I just show some love. Every video that I view of people, I always click like. I don't mind if it's the worst topic or if it's something, anything. I just give it a like, and I share it, because it just shows, it's just the love out there and appreciation. I mean, and everybody deserves it, right? Absolutely free.
Shows love.
Yes,
and it's
absolutely free.
Right,
and
it's free.
People to subscribe. It is free, but also it's not free for, in the way I'm speaking, not money-wise. I'm not talking about financial. I'm talking about, how do I explain this to you guys? It's not free to get you guys to like, share, and subscribe for us. Like, for you, yes. But for us, it costs us time. It costs us a lot of things, right, to get things up and running. It takes quite a while to get all these things going, right? And then that's what we say. Do not give up. We're very focused on this, right? Fab, what do you have to say to the beautiful audience that we have?
Thank you again, Cal. Thank you again for our families for creating us, for putting us here on this earth. And subscribe, make sure, don't forget, and hit that bell notification there to allow you to stay up to date with what we're doing and when it's happening. Have yourself a good night, Cal.